A man sits at a closing table, flipping through what feels like the 100th page of mortgage paperwork. The room is quiet except for the occasional shuffle of documents and the soft clicking of a pen. Then he stops. He looks at the interest rate. He looks at it again. A few years earlier, people were getting mortgaged with rates that seemed almost impossibly low. Now the number in front of him is dramatically higher. He finally asks the loan officer a simple question. Who decides this? It's a reasonable question. Most people assume the answer is the bank. Others assume the answer is the Federal Reserve. But the truth is stranger than either of those. Behind that mortgage rate sits an enormous, mostly invisible market that influences almost every financial decision in modern life. Mortgage rates, car loans, credit cards, student loans, business borrowing, retirement accounts, government budgets. Even the value of many investments, that invisible force is the bond market. And if that sounds boring, I understand. The bond market has a reputation problem. Stocks get headlines, cryptocurrencies get excitement. Real estate gets television shows. Bonds get ignored. Yet the bond market is larger than the stock market in many parts of the world and quietly influences the price of money itself. In many ways, it is the invisible machine that helps determine the cost of your entire financial life. My name is Theo, and I've spent far too much time trying to understand the invisible forces shaping our financial lives. Most people rarely think about the bond market. In fact, many assume it's something only economists, banks, or retirees care about. But the truth is that this market quietly influences everything from your monthly mortgage payment to your retirement account. If you've ever wondered why borrowing money suddenly became much more expensive, why home affordability can change so quickly, or why investments that were once considered safe suddenly started losing value, hit that like button and subscribe. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand one of the most important financial systems in the world, a system that affects your money whether you realize it or not. And once you understand how it works, you'll start looking at the economy, interest rates, and your own finances in a completely different way. So let's start with the simplest question possible. What is a bond? At its core, a bond is just a loan. That's it. The financial industry often wraps simple ideas in complicated language, but a bond is simply a loan that can be bought and sold. Imagine the US government needs money. It can collect taxes, or it can borrow. When it borrows, it issues Treasury bonds. You give the government money today. The government promises to pay you interest. Then it promises to return your principal later. Suppose you lend the government $1,000 through a Treasury bond that pays 4% interest. You receive $40 per year. Eventually, your $1,000 comes back. Corporations do the same thing. A company might need money to build a factory, expand operations, buy equipment, or refinance older debt. Instead of going only to banks, it can issue corporate bonds. Investors provide the money. The company pays interest. Simple. Some companies are financially strong, others are riskier. That's where we get high-yield bonds, often called junk bonds. The name sounds harsh, but it simply means investors demand higher interest rates because the risk of default is higher. Think of it this way. If your responsible cousin asks to borrow money, you might lend it at a low rate. If your cousin who has started 3 failed businesses, owns a boat he can't afford, and somehow always needs cash asks for a loan, you're going to want a much higher interest rate. The bond market works the same way. Risk and interest rates are constantly negotiating with each other. Now we arrive at the single most important concept in this entire video. When interest rates rise, existing bond prices fall. This relationship drives almost everything that follows. Let's use simple numbers. Suppose you buy a bond for $1,000. It pays 2% interest. You receive $20 per year. A year later, new bonds enter the market paying 5%. Suddenly your bond looks much less attractive. Why would anyone pay $1,000 for your bond that pays only $20 per year when they can buy a new bond paying $50 per year? They wouldn't. To attract buyers, the price of your bond must fall. Maybe it drops to $800, maybe lower. The exact number varies. But the principle never changes. When rates rise, old bond prices fall. When rates fall, old bond prices rise. This is one of those financial laws that seems simple until you realize how many things it affects. Bond investors care. Retirement accounts care. Pension funds care. Banks care. Governments care. And eventually you care. Because those same interest rates influence borrowing costs across the entire economy. This is where the famous 10-year US Treasury yield enters the story. If the bond market had a celebrity, this would probably be it. Investors watch it constantly. Financial journalists talk about it endlessly. And mortgage lenders pay very close attention to it. When the 10-year Treasury yield rises, mortgage rates often rise as well. Not perfectly. Not immediately. But the connection is powerful. Think about it from a bank's perspective. Suppose a bank can lend money to the US government and earn a relatively safe return. Why would it lend to homebuyers at nearly the same rate while taking more risk? It wouldn't. The bank wants compensation for that extra risk. As Treasury yields move, borrowing costs throughout the economy tend to move with them. This affects home affordability, it affects construction activity, it affects business expansion, it affects hiring decisions, it affects layoffs. Money becomes more expensive. And when money becomes more expensive, economic behavior changes. We saw this dramatically after 2021. Interest rates were extraordinarily low. Mortgage rates fell to levels many people assumed would last forever. Homebuyers rushed into the market, prices surged, competition exploded. Then inflation arrived. The Federal Reserve raised rates aggressively. Bond yields climbed, mortgage rates followed. The housing market cooled. Affordability collapsed for many families. The same house suddenly required a much larger monthly payment. The house hadn't changed. The financing had, and that financing was being influenced by the bond market. Now let's talk about one of the bond market's strangest warning signals: the inverted yield curve. Normally, investors demand higher yields for lending money over longer periods. That makes sense. More time means more uncertainty. So under normal conditions, a 10-year Treasury usually yields more than a 2-year Treasury. That's a normal yield curve. But sometimes something unusual happens. Short-term rates become higher than long-term rates. The curve inverts. It's as if investors are saying, the future looks weaker than the present. Why do people pay attention? Because historically, inverted yield curves have often appeared before recessions. Not every time, not perfectly, but often enough that investors take them seriously. In fact, the bond market's recession forecasting record has occasionally looked better than economists. To be fair, forecasting recessions is difficult. Economists have predicted about 17 of the last 7 recessions. The bond market has generally been a bit less dramatic. Now let's challenge one of the most common beliefs in personal finance. Bonds are always safe. That statement contains just enough truth to get people into trouble. Bonds can be safer than stocks in many situations, but they are not risk-free. First, there's inflation risk. Suppose you buy a bond yielding 3%. Then inflation jumps to 8%. You're earning money, but your purchasing power is shrinking. Second, there's interest rate risk. Remember our example. When rates rise, bond prices fall. Third, there's duration risk. And duration may be the most useful financial concept most people have never heard of. Duration measures how sensitive a bond is to changes in interest rates. Generally speaking, longer duration bonds are more sensitive. A short-term bond may experience modest price fluctuations. A long-term bond can experience dramatic ones. Think of duration as leverage hidden inside a bond. The longer the duration, the more powerful the impact of interest rate changes. And this became painfully obvious during 2022. For decades, many investors viewed bonds as the stable part of a portfolio. Then came one of the worst bond market years in modern history. Treasury bonds lost significant value. Bond funds declined sharply. Traditional 60/40ths portfolios suffered. Many retirees opened their statements expecting stability and found losses they never thought possible in supposedly safe investments. The math wasn't complicated. Rates rose. Bond prices fell. The same principle we discussed earlier, just operating on a much larger scale. Then things became even more serious. Consider Silicon Valley Bank. The bank accumulated large amounts of long-term bonds during a period of extremely low rates. When rates rose, the market value of those bonds fell dramatically. Many losses remained unrealized on paper. Then depositors started withdrawing money. The bank needed liquidity. Assets had to be sold. Losses became real. Confidence disappeared. The bank collapsed. The bond math never changed. The consequences did. Then there was the United Kingdom pension crisis. Investors sold bonds, yields surged. Pension funds came under severe pressure. Markets became unstable. The Bank of England stepped in with emergency interventions. Political turmoil followed. Prime Minister Liz Truss eventually resigned. Again, the underlying mechanics involved bond markets and rising yields. Then we have one of the most fascinating examples of all. Austria's 100-year bond. Yes, 100 years. During the era of ultra-low interest rates, investors were desperate for yield. Demand surged, prices soared, then rates increased. And because the bond had such an incredibly long duration, its price collapsed. The same bond mathematics that affected retirement portfolios also affected governments, banks, and institutional investors. One simple relationship: rates up, bond prices down. Yet that relationship helped contribute to portfolio losses, bank failures, pension stress, and political instability. Now let's zoom out even further. The United States government itself is deeply connected to the bond market. The national debt continues to grow. Treasury securities finance much of that borrowing. Interest expenses matter. Investor demand matters. Foreign demand matters. Credit ratings matter. When investors become concerned, they may demand higher yields. Higher yields mean higher borrowing costs. Higher borrowing costs affect government budgets. This doesn't mean bond investors directly control government policy. But markets can influence incentives. Governments propose policies. Bond markets react. Yields move, financing costs change. And policymakers pay attention. The bond market doesn't vote. But it definitely has opinions. So after all of this, what should an ordinary investor actually do? First, stop ignoring the return on your cash. Many people leave large amounts of money sitting in traditional savings accounts paying almost nothing. Meanwhile, Treasury bills, money market funds, high-yield savings accounts, and other cash alternatives may offer significantly higher yields. The difference may seem small. Over time, it isn't. Second, understand the difference between individual bonds and bond funds. An individual bond held to maturity behaves differently from a bond fund whose holdings are constantly changing. Both have advantages. Both have risks. But they are not identical. Third, learn to check duration. Before buying a bond fund, look at its duration. This single number can tell you a great deal about how sensitive that investment may be to future rate changes. Fourth, understand inflation-protected investments. I-bonds, TIPS, Treasury inflation-protected securities. These aren't perfect solutions, but they exist specifically to help investors manage inflation risk. Finally, watch the 10-year Treasury yield. You don't need to obsess over it. You don't need to check it every morning with your coffee. But it's worth paying attention to, because it functions a lot like the economy's check engine light. When it moves significantly, important things often follow. Mortgage rates move. Housing affordability changes. Business borrowing costs change. Investment valuations adjust. Economic behavior shifts. And that's why understanding bonds matters. Even if you never buy a single bond. Because you're already living inside a system heavily influenced by them. Every mortgage payment is connected to the bond market. Every loan is connected to the bond market. Every retirement account is connected to the bond market. Every major government borrowing decision is connected to the bond market. The bond market will continue pricing your financial life whether you understand it or not. The only question is whether you know how to read the price tag. If you found this video valuable, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. Because the more you understand how money actually moves through the system, the better equipped you'll be to protect your wealth, grow your wealth, and make smarter financial decisions for years to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.